Hello and welcome to Teaching Liberty. I'm Stephanie Edmonds, and here tonight with me I have Michael Kane. He is one of 10 teachers who was recently rehired this week for declining the COVID shot. He was fired 2 years ago, along with me. Sorry, I didn't mean to take you off screen there. And you got your job back this week. You're also founder of this organization right here, Teachers for Choice, which I am proudly a member and supporter of. And you are the grassroots organizer for Children's Health Defense. And how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. One thing, actually, I am now the grassroots organizer for American Values 2024. I'm not with Children's Health Defense at this moment in time, but it's highly likely I'll be back with them at some point.
Got you. Sorry. Thank you for
That's
correcting
okay.
that.
That's okay.
And of course, one of the supporters of this lawsuit, other lawsuits, a bunch of the actions we've been taking here has been Children's Health Defense, Robert F. Kennedy. So shout out to them. But I want to definitely get right into it. I mean, we got some big news this week. We won, and I say you were one of the named plaintiffs on the case. So technically only 10 teachers got their jobs back, got back pay. However, you put up this post today that you were not allowed to work. So, kind of give us the full context here and then bring us up to speed on what your current situation is.
Yeah, so, we've been fighting in the courts for 2 full years, almost to the day, give or take, and started in federal court. The big case initially for me was Kane versus de Blasio that I was the lead plaintiff on in federal court. That's been going for a long time. And right now we are on appeal on that case in the Second Circuit, waiting for 7 months for a decision that we haven't had. So
what I don't even understand how they can do that.
They can.
Don't get it.
They can do that. It's the judge's discretion, and there's nothing you could do to compel them to change that. But in the meantime, while that was happening, we filed this other case in state court, DiCapua versus City of New York, and Teachers for Choice is actually a named plaintiff in that case, as well as 10 individuals. I'm one of them. And that case, when it finally sought a decision in front of Judge Ralph Porzio, he granted 10 of us, not all of us, our jobs back with back pay, full seniority, same positions. 2 people did not get granted that are named plaintiffs, but he also declined to certify a class action. So it's not going to have further impact for everybody, like such as yourself and other people
right now, at least
deserving.
Right now.
At this point, currently, it won't. And also, he turned down and rejected our New York State constitutional claims, which is odd. And our attorneys firmly disagree with that. So there's a lot going forward. I can say this: the attorneys are firmly working on new strategies to get a class action certified, and they feel that there is certainly an avenue wide open for that. So nobody should feel like they're left behind. We're leaving nobody behind. But I didn't really get my job back. I went back. Judge Porzio on Wednesday looked me in the eyes and said, "You're to report to work tomorrow. Your religious exemption has been approved." So I did. So I reported to work. I met with my principal. She was fantastic. The leadership in my building has been very supportive, even-handed, and I really have nothing but good things to say about my school, but they don't make these decisions. And then I sat down and she said a lot of great things, but then said, "Your case in the DOE is currently under review. So until you get notification from the DOE, there's nothing that I can do." So I that was Thursday. That was yesterday. I went home, and then I wasn't to report today. So I did not go back this week. None of the 10 plaintiffs got a job back or are currently working. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, and I definitely encourage people to look at the decision. So if you go to the website that I was showing before, which is teachersforchoice.substack.com, TeachingLiberty.com. You can link to the actual decision. You can also check out the YouTube video that I did last night. I did a live where I read through the whole decision. And I mean, the good stuff is actually really at the end, but I still think it's important to read through all of that legalese and see, okay, what were the laws and the cases that they were referencing to then go on and ultimately make the decision. And so I definitely want to ask you some questions about things I read in there, which you may or may not be able to comment on. But I think that's definitely something that is very important for people to understand, whether they are part of the case, whether they are hopeful that the case will go through so that they can have their own case, or they're just somebody around the country looking in. Is there's many different arguments that were being made in here. There was like 3 or 4 different parts. And then even within those, you can see there's nuance. So I think that I don't think it's wrong to say that this is a huge victory, though, right?
I agree. I agree completely. It has set precedent for sure. It has affirmed that it was arbitrary and capricious to not grant our religious exemptions. It is huge. And, when you talk about, the nuance and the other cases, Kane versus de Blasio, especially also Keel versus City of New York, are referenced in that. Those are our federal cases that, I mean, you've helped to fund that. You've been a huge part of that with Educators for Freedom. And that lays all the groundwork. So these cases are all speaking to each other, and there's just multiple chess moves that are happening from different cases and such. So people should understand that this is extremely, extremely complex, what is happening. And everything we have done has led to this moment.
Exactly.
All the rallying in the streets, all the different cases, all the fundraising, going to City Hall, giving testimony at City Hall. Now we have Congress is actually looking into the New York City problem code issue as well. Stephanie, this is really unfortunate. I actually hear, let's see what happens though. I hear my 2-year-old.
Yeah, I hear as well. I mean, it's not super loud. But I mean, I totally understand if you have things to do, if you have to go take care of that.
Well, I hear my 2-year-old, and I think I just heard my wife getting up. Yeah, I thought I had him to sleep.
Yeah. All right. So listen, we'll let you go. Handle things. I think that was
8 minutes in. We're gonna have to do this and pick this
up.
Yeah, we'll do part of this whole thing.
Yeah, we'll do it again for sure. I mean, I definitely had some specific questions I wanted to ask you about the different parts of the case, but I really appreciate it. Go do what you got to do, Michael.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
I was really looking forward to this as well too. You've just been such a big part of this. You're so just intelligent and diligent with the way that you've done with this. So I was really, really looking forward to this.
We'll do it again.
We'll figure out another time to do it and to really do it well. I'm so sorry, everybody.
All right, Michael, have a good night.
This is real life.
Listen, 7:30 a.m. If you're tuning in here, you can catch him on Fox and Friends in the morning. So thanks, Michael. I appreciate you. All right, guys. Well, Michael unfortunately had to go. This is life. He is not only an activist, a grassroots organizer, but he is an amazing father. So thank you so much, Michael, just for coming in, even for that short period of time. I do want to just stay on here. There are a few people that are checking in here. I appreciate you guys. And I want to talk a little bit more about the case, some of my thoughts about where we are. Last night I did a live, but it was just mostly reading through the actual decision itself, and it's quite technical. I didn't really talk more about my reaction about where we are. And I was trying to get to this where we left off with Michael, was that we are not leaving anybody behind. Michael and 9 other teachers have been ordered to get their job back. I don't know if they have yet. They've been ordered to get back pay, no loss of time. I mean, that's amazing. 2 years worth of work that they lost. They, at least at this point, should be getting that. And me right now, that's not the case for me, right? That's not the case for thousands of other teachers. And I know it can seem unfair. Like, okay, that's great for them. That's great. They get to go to work. But what about me? What about my situation? What about the fact that I'm still trying to catch up on bills that I had to pay? What about all these, things that I missed out on? That's great for them. And I empathize very deeply with that, the situation that I'm in, right? I did not get my job back, and I see these 10 other people who did. But as Michael was saying, is everything builds on each other. And what I will say about the 10 people who are named in this case, or it was really 17, but 10 of them got relief, is the people who were named in this case were the people who have been part of Teachers for Choice from August 2020. And, right in those early days when Teachers for Choice got started. At first, it was fighting the mandatory testing, the mask mandates. They joined us, I was doing an organization at that time, Teachers for Open Schools. And that's how I linked up with Michael, was to advocate for open schools. And then the medical freedom stuff, it rolled into that. And those people were also like, yes, you can use my name, you can use my face, when a lot of people in August 2021, September 2021, when everything was getting going, people didn't want to use their name or their face. That's a reason also myself that I really I was getting all these different interviews, and I was trying to get more people to talk and more people to give their stories. But a lot of times people did not want to give their name or have their face in. So it definitely was hard in the beginning. And these people who put their names out there, they deserve everything that they get right now, right? And they're laying the groundwork and still leading for the rest of us. So I think that's really important to recognize and to pay respect to. And then the second piece of that is that this is lawfare. This is only one aspect of the battle. There's many different fronts. I think I generally more work on the media, the social media side of things, the reporting side of things. I'll go out there with my camera and put it in people's faces, make my YouTube videos, write some articles, do some organizing of events. But lawfare, that is a huge battleground, because that really, that's who we vote for. We vote for lawmakers. We vote for the mayor who executes the laws. Laws are how this whole system is set up. And you can't base your life, the direction you're going to go in your life, around that lawfare. You have to fight the lawfare because it matters, because you want those who come after you to have a free world. I want my son to be able to raise his kids, right, my grandbabies, in a free world. So would I love to get my job back? Would I love to get back pay? Would I love that right now? Yeah, I would. But for me, that's not my most immediate goal. That will be an amazing extra sprinkles on top. But my main goal right now is to make sure that we are, breaking down the laws and the policies that have built what's going on in the world, over these past 3 years, and all these different mechanisms that they have now, often in perpetuity, to build upon, to break those down and replace them with, or, just have a more free world, whether it means different governmental systems or just saying, no, this is not the territory of government at all. So those are just some of my initial reactions from seeing what some things that were being said in group chats or in the comments on social media. I just want to make sure that regardless of if you're getting relief right now, if you feel like you've or you're like, oh, I didn't exhaust my administrative administrative remedies or the whole administrative process. That was one of the things that the judge said about why some of the people did not get the relief that Michael Kane and 9 other people got. There was a couple on there that the judge said, well, at the time there were administrative remedies or processes in place that they could have participated in. So applying a religious exemption, right? Going through your appeals process, then applying to the city panel. So if you didn't do those because you're like, oh, there's no point, then that might not be it's not as great of an outlook as somebody who did, at least at this point in time, right? So you have to look at the nuances and the little bits and pieces, but at the same time, you have to get the low-hanging fruit first and then expand out the amount of people who are able to get relief as you're able to show, well, this wasn't right. Well, that means this wasn't right. Well, if that wasn't right, then this wasn't right. And then really get those thousands of people who were impacted by these mandates relief. The part that I really wanted to ask Michael Kane about was the Article 78. And so this is a administrative law. So like concerning people who work for governments and government agencies. There's certain laws that apply to how they ought to be judged or given due process of, figuring out something to do with their employment. And this is where we had a big victory, was around these Article 78. However, it was some of the language that they were using was a little complex, and there was one part of it that wasn't qualified, and there was other parts of it that did work. So I definitely I had some questions here for him about that. And hopefully we're going to be able to reschedule and get into it. But I just highly encourage you to read the decision, whether it's 22 pages, it's less than 22 pages, because like the first page and the last page don't really count. And then there's some pages aren't the text doesn't even take up like the full page. It's kind of small on the page, it doesn't use the whole, it has a wide margin. That's what I'm trying to say. Or you can listen to me, read it to you, and give a little bit of my breakdown, trying to make it easier to understand. Because if you're going to engage in lawfare, or if we're going to live in this society in which laws and this legalese really shapes our lives, we ought to be able to engage also with that language, those rules, the rulings that go on to impact our lives. And at first, it's going to seem like, what the heck are these people talking about? Like, what did they say? Let me read that again. And then as you read more and more, you'll be like, okay, now this thing back here makes sense. And it just slowly, it's like anything. It just builds, and you get more familiar with it, you get more context, and you start to hopefully understand it more and more. But you can't just block it out completely. These are the laws that control our lives, and we have to engage with them. So I appreciate everybody who checked in. Unfortunately, we only got a few minutes with Michael Kane. Like I said, he is going to be on Fox and Friends, the 7:30 a.m. hour. So check that out. Make sure, here, let me put this up here, the Substack and the website and everything, that you subscribe to the Teachers for Choice Substack. That's teachersforchoice.substack.com. You can check out the articles. I like them. They're nice and concise, but give you pretty good details and background. It links to the decision here. And then this is the one where he talks about how he wasn't allowed back at work, gives a little bit of background about what he's doing. But again, they're pretty short and concise, giving you just the most important information and keeping you up to date. So check all of that out. Make sure that you're following me on my social media platforms right here. I'm on I'm still calling it Twitter. So Teach Liberty 1, got the Instagram, Teaching Liberty. I'm also on Rumble. So if you'd prefer to use that platform, you can look me up and check me out over there. And really all that, teachingliberty.org. Yeah, I love your beautiful face. And when we think free, we live free. Don't forget to give all the glory to God. I'll catch you guys in here real soon.